Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Interlagos. It's something of a throwback circuit, built in the 1940s and updated just enough over the years to satisfy the demands of Formula One without destroying its essential character. Drivers love it, spectators love it, although, well, the historically primitive power facilities mean that teams might have more of a lukewarm likening to this track. Interlagos still remains one of the absolute classics on the calendar, and it's no different here in iGPFun-F3, where this track will hold today's round and sure lots of drama and excitement. And well, we've got qualifying well underway right now. I am Tim Cox, got Smiley Kume in the production booth, but right now joined by Aaron Smith. Aaron, last week, Long Beach, it was, well, a war of attrition. I think it was top 10. We're all only drivers that finished on the lead lap. We lost about a third of the field due to retirements as well. And it was a big field then too. So Interlagos this week, very different. A, it's not a stream circuit. B, it's a lot wider. And C, I think it's going to be more about the racing here rather than the drive to survive necessarily.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to get the complete opposite of everything that happened last week. We're going to maybe have a different winner, as you can see from the qualifying at the moment, lamely up the top instead of Marteau. That's very odd. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of overtakes, a lot of action today, as Interlagos is known for being such a good racing track. It's so easy to follow another car, really, even through this middle sector where you'd expect these higher downforce cars to maybe struggle a little bit with the dirty air, but no, you can follow a car in front of you very easily through here. It's so easy, especially all the way down to the main straight as well. The slipstream trains that we're going to get may span 5 or more cars, and I can assure you that the first few laps are going to be maybe even more entertaining than the Formula One race we had just a few hours ago. But this track is an absolute favourite of mine and a lot of other drivers in this series, and I for sure cannot wait.
Well, you all know that the F1 is just the warm-up to iGP. It always is. This is where the excitement's at. This is where the drama's at. This is where all the action will be happening. And as you say, well, I was about to say Lamy, top of the timing sheets, but just slipping his way past there. Just shy of 0.05 of a second quicker goes Marteau to get provisional pole in the dying stages of qualifying. Half an hour long is qualifying. We're at 28 minutes and 50 seconds. A bit of a hard close here as well. So once we run out of time, that's pretty much it. Marc Alcaraz, he's on a, well, the Iberian, he's on a flyer here today, and he's done a lot less laps than everyone else. We're right on board with him right now. Currently on the second row with Fessy. 3 tenths separates himself and Marteau for that pole position time. Going to come across the line. What is he going to achieve? I don't think he's really improving on this lap. Let's take a look. Well, as his sibling there, Alcaraz, just pops in right next to him. That confused me slightly. I thought we had a bit of a issue with our timing software for a minute, but no. They just slot themselves in together, although we'll be on separate rows with Mark on row 2, Aleko on row 3, as things stand at the moment. And few notable names not here this week. We've got, I'm just having a quick scan down to make doubly sure. Yes, such a big grid as always. We've got 52 drivers here for Interlagos. No Sam Hermer. Missing him from the front end, aren't we? And McIntyre Jones, he's well down as well, McIntyre. 18th at the moment.
Yeah, I was noticing Samuel Hammer this season. He's sort of been on and off. He sometimes pops in just for a little chat and maybe bags a good result, or as we saw last week, can have an absolute stinker. But yeah, McIntyre Jones, even though he is a race winner this season, of course winning in Sonoma, an absolutely brilliant performance by him that day, he has been wildly inconsistent, it has to be said. I mean, down in 18th place, as you say, the grid is very close. I mean, from first all the way down to 20th place, they're all within about the 127s, which is incredibly close. Only about 0.6 separates them all. So I definitely think we're going to have some amazing action. And, you know, if McIntyre Jones only went 0.05 of a second quicker, he would be ahead of Luca Varani. That's how close it is. But yeah, it's surprising to see that he's that low down. And considering we have 2 surprising new names, both seemingly related to one another, up in 4th and 5th, Alcaraz, those 2 doing very well already, setting the exact same lap time, actually. I just realized incredible consistency from those 2, especially being related. Maybe they're twins, maybe they're the same driver, who knows?
Well, with same lap time, surely they've got to be identical twins, you'd like to think. I mean, that would just, you know, all about the consistency in that. It's just got to be. I mean, you're saying about, you know, the shortness of the times. I've just, while you mentioned that, I thought, I wonder how far down the gap is from pole to within a second of pole. The answer to that one, Aaron, you have to go all the way down to 35th place. Zoltan Zamota. Well, actually, no, to be fair, you could probably even include Itoa. He's just ever so slightly outside that 1 second mark, but yes, a second covering our top 36 drivers, which is more than you get in a lot of fields in league. So that is an astounding result. Just shows how competitive, how close it is for so many of our drivers. Qualifying come to an end. Oh, it's going to be a big grid, and well, they're going to be stretched. I can already see some drivers taking to the grid, and they're well down, pretty much coming out of Young Cow, the sort of last proper corner. But let's take you through the grid, get through that really quickly. Marteau, he's on pole. Lamy joins him on the front row. Fessy and Marc Alcaraz on the second row, with Aleko Alcaraz joined by Pedro Suarez, this fellow Iberian, on the third row of the grid. Evan Way has got Clark Williams for company on the fourth row. Christian Glam says Lucas Murrock ran out your top 10, 5th row. There's Tony Jimenez and Victor Barris, the all-Spanish 6th row. Row 7, Andy Flynn, Nicholas Bestman. 8th row is Hay and Riders, Olveski and Varani, with McIntyre and Kenzie Newhoff rounding out your top 20 in row 10. There's Lucas Kostovanitsky, Lado, he's well down in 23rd. Kessler, 24th. Then it's Chuck Morrow, Adam Telsman, the North American row there, with Rowlinson, Ridgway, Tomulkins and Pluklex, Latvian row there. row 15, top 30. Then it's Putnik's Puzengerberger. Oh, I'm a bit of a mare tonight. John McKenzie, Jason Wilkinson, Zamota Itoa up to 36. And then we have got Solito, joined by Richard Van Veen, with row 20 being Ahmed and Carty, Milne and Potpenko. They're on 21 with Bream, Melm, Scatini, Dennis, Brewer, Ortolovs. He's still down compared to his fellow countrymen, with Imhoff and Divine on row 25. Yes, row 25 in position 50, with Dorian Arroyo and Arturo Meiroga, rounding out your 52 car grid. 52. Just 52. As here come the lights. Perfectly timed. You can see how far back the field stretches. And we get ready to go racing in iGPFun as we are green and we are away, and the race down to turn 1 is on. And I'll tell you what, Lamy is pulling alongside Marto, and this is going to be a fight into turn 1. And as we're going to come through the center of races, can Lamy keep his nose in there? No, Marto just ahead, but he's being squeezed right now by Lamy, and I'll tell you what, he's in his slipstream, he's in full attack mode as Marto goes to fence it to the inside. Lamy has to go for the outside. This is going to take a big move around to Interlagos, right around the outside. Can he hold his car in there? Because if he can, he'll have the inside the next few corners. I'll tell you what, Lamy is not giving this one up without a fight, because Marto trying to squeeze him and Lamy on the inside. This could be the change for the lead. You can see Simon Fessy moving around in the background there. All lanes blocked for him. He cannot find a way through as Lamy, well, he's just ahead. Marto fights back, trying to edge his car. There's a bit of contact in the midfield there. There's one outcrowds. There's a spinner. That is Simon Fessy. He's around, and he is out. It's the Frenchman, and well down through the order from 3rd to 20th in the blink of an eye. Is out in front. Lamy didn't manage to get past Marto for the lead. As this all happening, we haven't even done one lap here, Aaron.
Yeah, you usually don't see lap 1 overtakes in iGPFun get very close. These two, Jacob and Neuenhoff. But yeah, Lamy, an absolutely blistering start for him. He's already about quite far ahead of 3rd place, him and Marto, already about a second and a half. And Marto surely probably going to come back at him into turn 1. He does. They pull alongside, and Lamy trying to defend best he can, but I think Marto just has that inside line for this corner, and he gets back into 1st place. But can Marto now defend all the way down to Interlagos?
Well, find out. Oh, was Williams having a bit of a spin there and losing ground. That's dropped 15 places. He's running inside one side the top 10 as wow, ding ding, round 2, and you get the feeling this is setting things up for a race-long battle between these two, because they're already 8 tenths ahead of Alcaraz. As up the inside goes Lamy. It's a repeat of lap 1. And that's up the inside as Marto runs wide, gets a bit skirty, and that ensures that Lamy is through and ahead as we head through Ferradura and up around through the S's right now. Marto trying to fight back against Lamy, but can't do so. But he's going to be in the slipstream on the run down to turn 1 where it counts. But Alcaraz isn't far behind either. That is Aleko. The two Alcarazes has managed to keep in there. Although Mark is only back in 5th, so not all are lost whatsoever. We're right on board with Aleko Alcaraz, who's got front row seats to the action in front of him. As Marto just moving out of the slipstream there, maybe trying to call his brakes off, do we think, a little bit? Trying to cool his tyres, potentially, Aaron?
It wouldn't really affect him that much, actually, as that's Evan Way in the pit lane, falling down the order. But yeah, you wouldn't really cool your tyres or your brakes, really. In these cars, it's not really necessary. So I think Marto may be just playing the long game, and yeah, he probably is saving his tyres, but not trying to cool them, but just saving them and sit behind Lamy. But we will find out, as it's a long way to go, as these guys are going 3 wide. Luca Varani smartly backing out of that, but Simon Fessy not, going into turn 4, trying to make his way up into 14th place, but can't quite do it, and he's just going to have to sit behind Neuenhoff. And speaking of Neuenhoff, he's had a pretty good start, starting I think it was in 20th place. And he's had a pretty good start up into 14th. as Flint losing places further up to Stephen Riders as they're battling side by side through this middle part of the track. And wow, it's been an amazing first few laps, hasn't it, Tim?
Well, that's one way to describe it. We've got 35 laps here for you today. If it carries on like this, then I will need a serious lie down after this one. It's Aleko Alcaraz just left the race so far. Last time around, it's early days. Those lap times are only going to come down as the fuel burns off. As gaps start to open up, although Aleko has dropped a little bit, unlike this battle we're seeing on the screen right now. Well, you can see the top two in front there. They won't leave each other alone, will they? There's Marto just bumbling across the curbs and looking a little bit ragged compared to what we've seen him all season long, really, Aaron. He's been clinical, concise, consistent, you know, hitting every apex and exit, although look at the power and the slipstream. Marto trying to get around the outside. Lamy, well, he's a wily old fox. He shows into the outside, knows exactly where he's going to go, so then squeezes to hold that inside line. He shuts the door right in his face because he knows if you keep that inside line, Marto is not coming past.
Yeah, it is so easy to defend on this track. Just stick to the inside and you will most likely keep the place that you are trying to defend from. But yeah, Lamely defending very hard in this early part of the race. Not sure if it will pay dividends later on. Maybe once we hit about lap 20, 30, we will probably most likely find out. But Marto, yeah, as you were saying, not looking as clinical as he usually does, but he did tell me before this race that he literally has not done any practice at all, and considering that, he's still fighting for the win. So Marto, no matter if he's put in an entire week's worth of practice or none at all, he usually is up there and providing us with amazing racing, as he is right now, trying to get the slipstream from Jeremy Pools alongside again, about the fourth time. I think it's only been one lap he hasn't actually tried an overtake. He's quite a long way alongside, but they're still side by side as we go into turn 1 and turn 2. He's now ahead of Jerome, but Jerome now is going to have the slipstream down to turn 4.
He is down the Retta Aposta, and now it is Marto's turn to try and defend that inside line. Lamy, surely, well, he knows how to defend it. Does he know how to counter it? Does he know how to attack it? But as Marto employs the tactics he's just watched Lamy employ on him for the last 2-3 laps, and wow, that was getting close. It's getting feisty out front. And all while this is going on, look what's happening in the background. Aleko Alcaraz now within half a second of these two, and the more they fight, the more they battle, the more Alcaraz is going to come into this, and Suarez is going to get swept up into it. And if they're not careful, Mark Alcaraz as well will join in the fight as Aleko's all over the top of them right now as Lamy, well, he held that one. There's a bit of a drift, bit of correction. And well, that's the last thing one needs to do, is keep battling like this, because this is going to be absolutely entertaining. I mean, not to say there's no action going on the field whatsoever. You can imagine with the 52 car grid, there is plenty of first. We ride on board with Aleko Alcaraz as we head towards the start-finish line. Slipstream, engage, locked in, locked on to Lamy in front of us. He's locked into Marto. Are we going to go free wide? Oh, as Aleko bounces off the slipstream, heads back onto the racing line. Marto defends. Lamy tries to swoop down there, looking for the alternate line, but cannot get it done. And amazingly, they just all remain exactly as they were, Aaron.
Yeah, I was surprised. Aleko, I thought that the speed that he had, he was going to make it 3 wide. But sensibly, I think he might know this battle isn't really his. And I don't think I've seen him much here.
I heard him hitting the rev limiter. And well, he'd run out of gears, effectively. Well, I just want to get excited about these two, but we've seen it so many times side by side through this section as they head through Ferradura. But I tell you what, look, he's joining in now. We've got Suarez. All this fighting and this constant side by side action from Marto and Lamy has now backed them up into Aleko Alcaraz, and now we've got Pedro Suarez in the fight. It's not going to be long until Mark Alcaraz is back into this too. As now it's advantage Lamy. He's ahead, but Marto, is he going to lose a place here to Aleko Alcaraz? He's on the inside. We've seen yesterday here at Apex Racing TV that outside line through Young Cal is the one to have when you're battling side by side. You should carry more speed, more momentum, through that exit, which means higher top speed come the end of the start-finish straight, and they're going to go free wide in the battle for second place. Hold tight, folks. Here we go. Who's going to come out on top? Well, I think it's Aleko Alcaraz. He's up for the inside, and Suarez is through, and in the space of a straight, Marto loses 2 places. That's right. Marto has just lost 2 places.
That is not something that we have said in a long time, but this is, albeit very entertaining, but this is not good for these guys. If they keep battling, look at the gap already at the top. Lamy has already pulled a nearly 8/10 advantage. Lamy is free of the slipstream, which means that if Marto can get past these two, again, Marto is going to have to push like hell. And yeah, I think Marto is probably extremely flustered and frustrated right now. He will not be very happy that he has just lost those 2 places. And as you said as well, Mark behind is only about 5/10 back, so we don't count him out.
Right. No, because he was, about this time last lap, Aaron, he was 1.2 seconds behind, wasn't he? Now he's only 7/10, so he's pretty much halved that deficit that he had to this group ahead of him. And, well, you say about 7/10 was the gap. I think it was even 6 when you mentioned it, between Aleko Alcaraz and Jerome Lamy currently leading. That's now 9/10 of a second. It's the advantage, and Lamy is rubbing his hands together, metaphorically obviously. He's not taking off the steering wheel and been out for this lead that he's got. Lap 8. Lamy leads from Aleko. Wow. Scratch that. Pedro Suarez into second now. Aleko Alcaraz third. Marto fourth. Mark Alcaraz fifth. Then it's Baruch, Glamses, Jimenez, Barris, and Hay rounding out your top 10 as well. They're all scrobbling for that inside line, battling away. Marto pulls out. He goes across the racing line, and that means that Alcaraz is going to lose out as Marto holds around the outside. He's squeezed by Suarez, pushes him right through to see that Lago there, but comes back. Is he going to retake this? He's on the outside, and we know, we've seen historically, that inside line is the place to be, and Pedro Suarez is there, and he's going to hold on to second. Or is he? Because look at Marto. If he knows if he can hold him around the outside, he's going to be on the inside here. And it's still side-by-side action. And now Lamy is out to 1.7 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I was just paying attention to that gap at the front. It's just getting bigger and bigger. And once it hits about 2 seconds, it's game over for Marto. As we saw a few weeks ago at Nürburgring, once that gap hits about 2 seconds, because Lamy and Marto are around the same pace, it's going to be nearly impossible for Marto to catch back up unless he sets blistering lap times. But Marto is, I know the guy, he is seething in his seat right now. He is not happy. I can picture his little face in my head, just absolutely screaming at Suarez and Alcaraz for ruining his race, but he's now back in second place.
He's down, but he's not quite out yet, and he's given this absolute everything. He's throwing everything at it, including the kitchen sink. He's got it back up into second, but he knows he needs to hold on to it. He knows he needs to have no more attacks to try and get away from the clutches of this group that he's being sucked into, that he's being enveloped into, as we see Suarez trying to hang around the outside. Aleko Alcaraz there, or swarming all over the back of them, trying to find a way through. But as wide as this track is, it seems like too wide. It's being largely the place to go. That's not the place to go free wide though, as they all sort themselves out, back out of it. And now Marc Alcaraz is on to the trail end of this group, and Lucas Maruk, where has he come from? He's now in with a shot. As well, Lamy, you said about that 2 second advantage being game over. Now 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, I can't see Marto really coming back now. It is, yeah, a long race to go, but remember, Lamy and Marto during qualifying were setting pretty much the same lap times. So if Marto wants to catch, he's going to have to be about a 10th quicker every single lap from here on in. And it's a tough ask for Marto, but don't count him out. This race is a long way from done, and that battle for third place, I think, probably will go on until the end of the race, as Marto is just starting to gap Suarez now. But yeah, we got battles up and down the grid. Yeah, a massive train.
Well, yeah, this is 20th position to Mulkens, the Latvian leading this one. This train, well, I say to Morgan's Ridgeway trying to take control of this train right now. So he heads to the outside and tries to sweep all the way around, and he does it around the outside into turn 1. He's headed to the center S's. A great move there from the American to take 20th. But this train ends all the way, pretty much at Richard Van Veen. He's down in 37th place. That's 17 places. You can see that just the length of the train there from the track map in the top right corner that our producer Samuli's finally put up for us. It's absolutely massive. It's bigger than a lot of grids you get in races. And wow. I mean, I suppose you talk about that lead out in front. The trouble is, because everyone's so tightly compressed, is that a, ding-dong going on in the midfield. That's put Nixon, it's Chuck Marrow and Adam Talsma. These two started on the same row. They've both made up 2 places. That's Chuck Marrow. Well, nearly chucking it all away, isn't he?
Just managed to catch it, yeah, locking the brakes smartly, of course, not spinning his rear wing into the wall as Pedro Soares now loses out 3rd place to Alcaraz, and no, they get past. It's an absolutely amazing battle, I can see. And yeah, they go through turn 2 side by side, and Alcaraz is the one on the right, Soares the one on the left. Soares with the inside line, I think, is just going to be able to nudge ahead into this corner as they go into the Interlagos, still side by side. Soares not quite able to push Alcaraz all the way off the track, but now has that inside line once again and covers it off. But look at Marc Alcaraz now in 5th place, who's eyeing up these two in front of him. And wow, these two Alcaraz guys, not seen them much all season, but they're providing absolutely stonking action tonight.
It must be that sort of, Latin, sort of like connection, obviously, with this being South America, Brazil. Those guys from, Iberia, and obviously Suarez running around. It's Portuguese, they speak Portuguese in Brazil. Definitely sort of a connection, a bit of a theme going on here. That's a little bit loose, but there we go. Now, I've just been looking at the lap times and keeping one eye on that gap out in front. Now, what is not going to help is, obviously, there is no traffic ahead. Lamey's got a clear road for realistically, a good 50% of the track. That's going to be advantage towards him. But Marteau is catching him at around about a 10th to 1500th of a second per lap. Now, what does that mean? Well, if he keep up that rate of catching him, then he will catch him on lap 32, which will give him 3 laps to mount an attack. Can he do it? Remains to be seen, as the Alcaraz is having, well, they're trying to gang up on poor Pedro Soares right now, and, well, he's fallen right back from Marteau, 2.3 seconds already, the advantage. It just shows, if you get stuck in a battle like this, you lose so much time around here, don't you, Aaron?
Yeah, you can see the gap that Soares has fallen to Marteau as Simon Fessy now trying to fight his way back through the field. He's side by side with Stephen Riders through this middle sector, just going to nudge ahead. And all very loose on the exit there, but just manages to put himself up into 12th place. But yeah, as you were saying, that gap at the top, it's difficult to say what's going through Jerome Langley's head. It's like, he has that gap, he knows he can play around with it. Does he maybe try and slow down a little bit, save his tyres? Or does he just try and pull away as much as he can? But Marteau, out the final corner, got a very poor exit, and it's now about 2.3 seconds. So, not quite sure what happened to Marteau there. Maybe he just got stuck on the outside curb as we see the lap times from last lap. Jerome was about 0.2 of a second quicker. But now Simon Fessy trying to defend again from Stephen Riders. It is really hard to pull away from a driver behind around this track, and Andy Flint behind just slowly watching these guys waiting for an opportunity. Simon Fessy just nudges Stephen off, and Andy Flint now is going to seize his opportunity and surely going to move past Simon Fessy.
I was about to say, Fessy had a great recovery because obviously after that spin early on, he's dropped to about 20th as well. There's another place gone. He's up into 13. I saw Flint letting that one go very easily, and he's on the inside against Fessy. So currently on Fessi's driver's right, is right on board with Ferrari right now, who's, well, sitting pretty... has Ferrari got damage to the front left section of his wing, front wing? It looks a bit... Doesn't it? I thought it looked a bit short from... Maybe it's just this camera angle. It could be me. I trust you. You're the F3 driver. Yes, you're the F3 driver, so you'll know better than me of exactly what a front wing looks like, because you look at it a lot more than I see different angles and whatnot. So, mistake there. Never mind. A bit of a panic, because I was thinking, how's he keeping up then with the front wing damage? So that will explain it. He doesn't actually have any. Right. Well, lap 14. Lamy leads from Marto, Suarez. Then we've got Aleka Alcaraz, Mark Alcaraz for 5th. Glamseta, Jimenez, Barris and Hay running at the top 10. Still plenty of battles, still big trains involved. Well, that one front 20th all the way down this group, breaking away. 16, 17, Maplin, Kessler, Luedo involved in this battle. But head it up, and Luedo's struggling a bit here. And someone who's normally, I would expect to see Luedo a bit further up, realistically. As, oh, I think the two Alcarazes, yes, they've got past Suarez. They've been ganging up on him for a few laps. Oh, is he going to come back across the track? Is he going to be okay? Yes, he is. That's Mark Alcaraz. Down and out. And, bumping across those mounds of grass is not going to do the underside of the car any good whatsoever.
Yeah, it reminds me of what happened to Jesper Sandstrom yesterday in ARA. Just lost it on the exit of turn, I think that's turn 5 or turn 6. And yeah, it's really awkward. I've never really seen a car lose it that quickly. Because usually the car is absolutely planted through that corner. You usually lose it if you get on the grass or maybe take too much curb. But no, the car just completely lost it by itself. And big shame for Alcaraz, who only just got himself up into 4th place, past Pedro Soares. But yeah, speaking of Pedro Soares, now falling out of the slipstream of Aleko's Alcaraz in front of him, and now is having to defend from Lucas Maruk. So big moves from a lot of these drivers in that last lap. You know, you had the battle for 3rd, you had the movements from Fessi riders, as Luedo now getting passed by Kessler. There's just so much to keep track of up and down the grid, and this is the kind of racing that you get here at Interlagos. Absolutely beautiful. And I've just noticed something. Look at that gap at the top, Tim.
Wow. There's been so much
to Jerome.
Wow, there's been so much going on that I did say earlier how Martin had been catching at about 10th a lap. Last time around Aaron, he took 3 attempts out of him. 3 attempts. And
he took more than that. He took a 1.5 seconds. Jerome's last lap was a 1:29. Wow,
well spotted there, because I just assumed it'd be a 1:28.4, but you're wrong. I'm wrong. It's 1:29.4, and this is exactly what happened to Lamy, and why he's lost all that time. And that is not what he wanted, because no, it's not quite, is it? No. But either way, I mean, there's plenty going on, and it's down to 6 attempts now. And now Lamy is within, he's got Marto in slipstream range of him.
This is round 2.
I mean, last time around, I didn't even, it was well spotted from myself, because I didn't even spot that it was 1:29.4 from Lamy. I was expecting it to be a 1:28. I just didn't even look at the second mark. So well spotted there, Aaron. And Suarez now trying to defend from Maruk, which is allowing Aleka Alcaraz to get away. These two need to really think about just working together, surely, Aaron, to get up onto the back of Alcaraz, and then they can have a freeway fight over that last spot on the podium. As Hay has got past Barris, or has he? No, they're just swapping left, right, centre, back, forth, first it's Hay, then it's Barris, and I think it's gonna be Barris, although Hay might even lose place to Kenzie Newhoff, who's all over the rear end of them.
Kenzie Newhoff, speaking of, has had an absolutely amazing race. He's up 10 places, pretty much all on pace, and he's fighting for the top 10 now, so props to him. He's had a really, really good race. And I can't quite see who is our biggest mover so far. I think it's Imhoff.
No,
Oh, it's Autoloves, actually.
yeah, Marek Zoltalov. He's up 18 places into 30th. Big shout out to Zoltan Motor. He's up 12. Make that 13. Something's happened to Williams. There you go. Clark Williams has. Where's that? I think that's at Bica de Pato. Yes, it is. That's Bica de Pato. So it's losing the rear end. The car just go a bit light on the rear end through there, doesn't it? When there's a bit of a crest of the hill as you come into the braking zone.
Yeah, that's why usually the quickest line through that corner is to take it really wide and try and get a better exit. If you take it too tight and try and get on the power, the car just doesn't like the change in elevation, and it just loses the rear, and that's probably what he did. Maybe took a bit too tight of a line and just lost the car by himself. But I'm really keeping an eye on that gap at the top, because I want to see Lamely and Marteau go for it again, as Alistair Hay now trying to defend from Victor Barris, and Neuenhoff behind, just putting his nose in, then letting Barris know that he is there and waiting for an opportunity, and that is maybe now as he goes very wide. Oh, it's going to be very close between these two. He just has a front wing alongside. Is he going to try and outrage Victor Barris into this next corner? He's going to try, but try as he may, can't quite get it done, and most likely is going to get that giga slipstream all the way down the main straight and make a pass.
So for a big capacity, he's saying he's better to take a bit more of a late apex. Segway, late apex. It's a racing news show on Apex Racing TV, out every Monday evening. Make sure you check that one out. You'll learn, Aaron, how to slip these in. It's Jimenez at Plas, Glam Setter, Barris and Neuhoff side by side into curve 1, turn 1. It's Anglia filed version of its name from the Senna S's out through Curva de Sol, down the Red Raposta. It's Jimenez and Glamsetter being chased by Hay, but are they going to switch places? Well, I'll tell you what, the 11 of Jimenez ahead. He's on the inside, but he hasn't covered off the exit, and that's going to allow Glamsetter to be on the inside for these next 2 corners.
Something's happened to Neuenhoff.
He's fallen down.
He's also about 5 places in the span of about 5 seconds. I think he may have had an incident going into turn 4, possibly.
Yeah,
we'll get a replay to confirm.
Let's find out. Also, he's side by side there. Okay, that sorts itself out. Oh, he just a bit too much curb on the inside there. Do we think that's what's caused to lose the rear?
I think he just tried to get the switch back and just got on power too early, and the car just wasn't having any of it. It was a good attempt at trying to get past. I think that was Barris in front of him, but a bit of a shame for him. He was having such a good race, but let's see what he can do from here on in, and hopefully he can get back into this little train that's in front of him, as Stephen Ryder's trying to have a battle with Andy Flint. These guys have been going at it almost all race as they come side by side down this main straight, and that's Alcaraz into the pit lane.
That's Mark Alcaraz, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yes.
Not sure what's happened to him.
No, a bit of a strange one, that. I wasn't expecting to see that. Maybe some floor damage. He did take all those bounces across the infield at S8, wasn't it? Turn 6. Where he obviously lost the rear end when he was battling for 3rd place with his sibling and also Pedro Suarez. So maybe a bit of floor damage, and that's affecting things, and clearly thinking that it's going to be better to pit, try and sort some of that out, and then come back out again. As we see, well, Ridders, Flynn, and that is Neuhoff. This is the battle for 12th place right now. Ferrari has cleared him, so has Vessi, and that is Ovleveski and Molkens. Well, the 2 Eastern Europeans there, they come together. Oh, wow. Okay, are we going to go 4? I thought we were going to go 4 wide there. They sort themselves up for 3 wide. Oh, there was double contact there. There was a big incident.
Yeah, that was McIntyre, I think, just giving him a nudge and sent him spinning. And yeah, McIntyre Jones does have a damaged front wing, ever so slightly. It's not too big a damage, but yeah, just ran into the back of him. Not really much more to it, just completely run him off the track. But I'm looking at that gap at the top. It's 0.2 of a second.
2 temps. Well, as you say that, it's now up to 4 temps. So, okay. Well, I tell you what, he's taken another good chunk of time out of Lamy on the last lap. As Marteau set the fastest lap of the race, 1:27.8. Lamy on the last lap only managed 28.1, so 3 temps. The advantage on that last lap alone, but Marteau has lost a bit of time. Does worry me, where he's pushed so hard to close that gap. Has he taken too much out of his tyres, Aaron?
Well, that does remind me a lot of what happened at Nürburgring, because he did get caught up in a battle for second place and lost about 2 seconds. Eventually caught up nearly to the leader and then just fell off a cliff because his tyres were absolutely ruined. And yeah, that might be the case, but I don't think it will start to show until towards the end of the race, maybe like the last 7 or 8 laps. But for now, he can just get his head down and try and get past Jerome. And he is the only driver who has gotten into the 127s. And as soon as I say that, on the last lap, Jerome got into the 127s. So yeah, never mind. These two are the only drivers in the 127s, which, I mean, if you look at the gap, kind of makes sense, as that's an infinite for Reno Scattini.
I want to say Matt Brewer's been involved in this because he's dropped a few places.
Ooh, there. Just made contact with Chuck Norro.
Yeah. Scattini's towed it straight to the pits after that one. Norro will not be overly impressed, you get the impression. Let's have a look. So there's Scattini, the blue 40 car. Brewer behind him.
Yeah, he lost him as well.
Yeah, and then Brewer nowhere to go and straight into the back of him.
Yeah, I think Scattini probably had suspension damage. I think that's why he couldn't really keep control of the car and towed it back to the pits. But yeah, really unfortunate for... oh, that's the other Alcaraz off.
Oh,
Alcaraz in the wall.
He was third as well. So he's lost it from third.
A terrible race for these two. It's such a shame. They were doing so well. It really is heartbreaking. I think he made the same mistake as Mark did. Not quite sure.
Oh, same corner. Oh, it's just a really long, lazy spin.
Yeah. That was...
oh, and then he just rolled it back into the wall.
I think he's... I'm really lost to that one, Tim. I can't lie.
I mean, surely, if it was me, I would have, spinning backwards and rolling backwards, either held the brakes or just lit up the rear tyres to prevent me making contact with the barrier behind, and then kept going. I mean, yes, he would have been, lost all of his lead, but he would have come out probably around Glam Setter-ish. He's not too far behind, possibly even just behind Maruk, who's currently in 4th. And it still would have been game on. We know he's got the raw pace. He knows that as well. As we see, this is the battle for 33rd. Imhoff is ahead of Milne right now, but Milne full attack mode, 3 temps behind. We're closing up. That is Poletic, Reckless, and Evan. Evan Way's been in the wars today, hasn't he?
Yeah, been very topsy-turvy with the grid today, but going into turn 1, he's going to try and go for a bit of an optimistic dive going into, and there's contact. A bit of a synchronized spin for both of them, and yeah, just really awkward, to be honest. More of a racing incident, wouldn't really put blame on either of them, but yeah, just a bit silly, to be honest.
Ortolot, I think I'm pretty sure it was Marek's Ortolot, who was the perennial hot knife through butter, slivered and snaked and slided and slalomed his way through there. Between the pair of them, with a bit of a drift in for good measure, as Maruk has got past Suarez up ahead, but this is the battle between Milne and Imhoff. Milne has got it done, he is ahead. The Scots up into 33rd ahead of Imhoff. Work cut out though, 8 seconds behind Soleto. As this is up ahead, and this is Suarez trying to come back. Lucas Maruk, Canadian, will be desperate now to keep hold of this one, but he's got a long chunk of the race to go. 12 laps, in fact, here from Interlagos in Brazil.
Yeah, we got plenty of action left, haven't we, Tim? And
we have.
It's been amazing.
We think we've seen it all, and I think we're still about to see a lot more yet to come. As I tell you what, Lamy's responding well. Just at the very best, sector 3 and 4 of absolutely anyone on the last lap. So he's responding, and he's actually pulling away from Marteau at this stage in the race. Great result from him. As this down in the midfield, it's like the animals coming on to Noah's Ark 2x2 and making contact. No, they get away from one another. Richard Van Veen leading this group. Then is Punzengerberger just behind them.
These guys battling, making me so nervous.
I tell you what, they're absolutely all over each other. This group of 5 right now. We've got Olveski, Carty, and Tomolkins all involved in this one. 5 drivers, 5 nationalities, all going wheel to wheel. And this is why we absolutely love iGPFun. The cars might not be real, but the driving and the action most certainly is. And Van Veen, well, he just needs to hold this
gap. The gap at the top just keeps playing with itself. It got down to about half a tenth about a few seconds ago. And yeah, I do think Marteau will be on the attack within the next few laps. But he keeps getting in the situation, getting close, but can't quite actually go for a move. But speaking of moves, here comes Ortolovs trying to get past Evan Way, and Evan Way has absolutely missed the braking zone for that corner. Someone give Evan Way a map, because he needs to find his way through that corner. That was a terrible pun. But nevertheless, Evan Way loses the position.
Welcome to the club, Aaron. Welcome to the club.
My first of many.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. You'll soon learn. A bit of an incident for Chuck Marlborough. He's dropped a few places. There's now Ortolovs. He's just up 26 places. Just 26. Next closest to that, to go to some comparison, is Zamota, he's had a quiet race, but he's up in 18th now. He's gained 17 places. Spencer Gruber. There we go, I've got it in the end, his surname. It's only taken me most of the race. He is now 27th. Olszewski ahead of him, the pole. Trying to get to the front of this queue, but Van Veen, well, he's lapping up, isn't it? I think anyone is when you're looking in your mirrors and seeing this battle going on behind you. Because as we saw earlier, well, Lamy was just able to walk away from that battle for second place. Oh, well, there you go, curse the commentators. I'm sorry, Richard Van Veen. Around he's gone, out of Young Cow. And it's all gone wrong. And that's Stuart Milne about to cruise past him, I think, is it? No, it might have been Polypenico. But either way, he has lost a lot of places. And, well, this group, they're back to having a good old squabble.
Yeah, just so much action up and down the grid. This is... I mean, I think, if I'm right in saying, Interlagos usually has the most overtakes of the entire season in Formula 1. And yeah, today we're getting evidence of this. It's McIntyre Jones trying to come back from a pretty awful race that he's had so far, down in 35th place, making his way past Dorian Arroyo. And yeah, McIntyre had a really disappointing day, the Austrian driver. I mean, he started in 18th. And has fallen even more down than he would have liked, and yeah, just a day to forget for McIntyre.
Most certainly is. It's been like that for a few drivers, hasn't it? You know, Chuck Marrow's not had the best. Williams, that's been early on. Evan Way, he struggled too. Obviously, the two Alcarazes are gutting for the pair of those guys. I mean, we've had a fair few retirements, to be fair. We've lost, what, 11 drivers. Devine, we lost to lap 23, we're currently on lap 26. So we haven't lost him, apologies, he's just a lap down, he's still going. Aleko Alcaraz, we lost on lap 21, so 5 laps ago. Then Mark Alcaraz before that on lap 18, Scattini on the same lap, Kostakanowski, lap 18, Vestman 14, likewise for Lucas. Rowlandson, we lost in lap 7, Ahmed, lap 6, Malm on lap 4, and Itola and Miroga did not make the start. So, Sultan Zamota, well, that is Clark Williams ahead of him, who's dropped a lot of places. Zamota's made up a lot, he's up 16 places. Second highest behind obviously Ortolov, who we mentioned earlier. There's a few people vying for that title with him. A few on 15, a few on 14. It seems to have just calmed down a bit, Avro.
Yeah, just a
That
tiny
worries
bit.
me. That worries me. Because it's normally the calm before the storm, isn't it, really? And it's a bit worrying as well that we've taken 27 laps of a 35-lap race for things to, quote-unquote, settle down a bit, calm down a little bit.
Just a tiny bit. But whilst you were reading our retirements as Pedro Soares and Maruk going side by side, still battling for third. That's a very wide line for Pedro. Nearly getting on the grass, but Maruk just slotting in behind for now, and we'll have to wait patiently for another attack. But yeah, while you were reading the retirement, I actually saw Lamely and Marteau on our timing screens going side by side. I'm not sure where into. I'm going to have a guess turn 1 or turn 4, as the gap was, well, they were trading places. And Marteau fell back a little bit after that and is now trying to catch back up. But yeah, Marteau's tyres, as we mentioned a couple laps ago, just starting to scream its head off now. And yeah, Marteau really is going to start struggling at some point. But here he comes again. I don't think he's quite close enough to go for a move unless he gets very, very late on the brakes. He's going to try and maybe stick a nose into this corner. It's very close between these two. He just slots in behind, but now all the way down the Reta Acosta into Descida de Lago, Marteau is going to have the advantage, the slipstream, the giga slipstream, as Marteau would say. He's going to go to the outside. Into turn 4 is much later on the brakes than Jerome. They're still side by side. Very fair racing between these two, but Jerome just manages to slot in front. And I don't think Marteau really can do much from the outside of this corner. He's just going to have to tuck in behind for now and just be a little bit more patient as he tries to sneak maybe around the outside. But I think Jerome is starting to feel the pressure now, Tim.
I don't know. I think he knows ultimately. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the way that Marteau has overcooked his tyres, trying to catch up to the back of him, he's going to be, if you can force him offline and make him do the work, it's just going to add insult to injury and punish those already, crying tyres even more so. And Lamey will just be able to just drive away from him. He won't have to worry. I mean, look, he's able to pull out half a second advantage. And Marteau's got the slipstream. And yes, he brings it back in again. And these, to contract and expand like an accordion as Lamey, well, nearly losing it there.
This is going to be Marteau's chance.
Well, I don't know whether it will, because I think Lamey's just going to go instantly to the left, defend it. Marteau's going to have to try and go right around the outside as he looks for the switchback there. He's alongside. He is slightly ahead, but Lamey, interestingly, he breaks out a little bit earlier and then just opens up the corner and then powers out of it. And Marteau doesn't have the only answer and then drops back by about 3 attempts. And that seems to be the common occurrence of how Lamey's just defending this one, just being easier on his tyres, braking early, if anything, so then he can just power through the corner. He's got the momentum and the speed on corner exit and walks away from Marteau every single time.
Yeah, I did notice, especially out the slow speed corners, like this one, you're going to see Marteau struggle a little bit for traction on the exit, as you see Jerome has a slightly better exit. And yeah, Marteau's tyres surely right now are absolutely destroyed. They've been, that's Lucas Maruk in the wall. He was fighting for third.
Well, he's going to lose. There you go. Glamsetter through. That's going to be Alistair Hay through. Jimenez through. Maruk fighting for a third. Held third for a while, in fact. And now down to 7th. And that's surely going to gift it to Pedro Soares. It's got to, surely. Yeah,
Pedro has a massive lead now in terms of the car behind. But Glamsetter up into 4th. I think I'm right in saying that will be one of his best results, if not the best result of his iGPFun career. So props to him.
He had a good qualifying as well, because he started in 9th. So he's only gained, I say only, 5 places. It's still a good achievement. I mean, Habes behind him has gained 10. But, I mean, even so, that's astounding results. And certainly no Orsolovs with his thing up 25. Well, hey. could lose the place here to Jimenez. Jimenez on the inside of Hay. And as we've seen before, there you go. It's the place to be is on the inside, and Hay did not defend it. And Jimenez said, well, if you're going to leave a gap there, I'll take it from you. And when it comes to returning the favour, you will not have it back, as I'll defend the inside. Unlucky. I'm off. See you later.
If only Alistair Hay could have done that to me and said, oh, I'm not going to fight you, that would have been quite nice for me. But nevertheless, we go back to the battle for first place, which has been going on pretty much the entire race and will go on for the next 5 laps when these guys cross the line. We will have only 5 laps to go and 5 laps more of battling action with these two, as these two are some of the most fair racing drivers in pretty much all of F3. They give each other just about enough room. And when I say just about enough, I mean maybe an inch enough. As Marto around the outside, not really the best way to overtake into turn 1. Can't quite get it done, but Tim, what do you think Marto's going to have to do to get past?
He's got to get that inside line, but he won't get it because Lamy knows full well if he's got it, Marto can't get it. And he knows that, well, oh, hold on. He's managed to keep his nose in. He's been trying this for lap after lap after lap, and he's had to concede the corner. But finally, Marto has managed to keep his car alongside through the Reta Aposta and through the Cedar del Lago. As he's into Ferradura, he nearly loses the rear end. And wow, he's kept over it. He has done it. He's come back from 2.4 seconds down over Lamy to lap 31, where he has finally taken back the lead that he once held in the early stages of the race. And now it's advantage Moto, and Lamy has all the work to do with 4 laps left. Wow. But I mean, Lamy's been quick out of Young Cow, which they've just come out of. And they head out onto the start-finish. Well, I say straight, it's one long swooping curve, pretty much. And I think he might get the run here. He might get the run, but I think Marto's going to defend that inside line. Lamy just got his nose ahead into the brakes. He's going to be the last of the late breakers. It's Marto. Lamy who loses the rear, but he's going to straighten up that corner exit. He could get an absolute fly here, but Marto, you know full well, he'll go to the inside. He's going to defend. We're right on board with Lamy right now as we head down the Reta Aposta. And here comes Lamy. He's alongside. You can hear the porpoising going on. The car scraping out. He looks for the switchback. Marto covers the outside, and Lamy then swoops back to the left. He swoops right, and he cannot find a way through. He's looking up the right-hand side again. He's trying to get his nose in there. Is he too far back? No, he sends it in, and he gets his nose alongside. If he can hold it there, Marto drifting right now into SA, and has Lamy done enough to keep his car alongside? If he can keep it in there, Marto almost, well, those tyres, they are shot, aren't they? He's got barely any meat left on the bone with those.
I think that was a massive mistake by Marto, leaving the inside open going into turn 6. I think he should have covered that off, as it's put him under so much unnecessary pressure now. He could have held that inside line, and through that entire middle sector would not have to have just done what he did and defended so hard, which would have put more stress on his tyres. As if they weren't already stressed enough, they're going to be absolutely crying right now. As we head on to lap 33, we've only got 3 laps to go. I can't tell who's going to win this race, but they go side by side into turn 1 for about the 3rd time in a row. Marto just edges ahead, but Jerome now has to think differently coming down the Reta Aposta. He's going to have to try something else, as I think Marto now will defend the inside line into turn 6 if it happens again. But you can see Jerome just squeezing him onto the inside. But Marto getting that better traction out the corner, but loses the rear, but does have the inside line. Jerome is ever so slightly in front. Is Marto going to be later on the brakes than Jerome? They're still side by side, but Marto just nudges in front ahead of Jerome, but leaves the door open for Jerome to nudge it back up the inside.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Lamy is playing the absolute iconic mind game right now with Marto by positioning his car in such a way that it's forcing Marto offline, forcing him to work those tyres even more. I think he's just trying to mind punt him effectively to force a mistake out of it where Marto's tyres just go, no, do you know what? I've had enough now. I can't cope with this anymore. And they give up, and he goes spinning off because Laney's got the cooler tyres. He's got more meat in the bone where he hasn't had to push them. Marto's had to do all the work to catch up once more. There's a side-by-side across the start-finish line. I get the feeling Marto will hold on to this one. As Lamy will just look, yeah, there you go. Look, he's just backing out of it. He's then opening up the corner into normal racing line. It's clever stuff. And then Marto's squirreling. He's trying to get onto the accelerator as quick as possible. And Lamy just breezes around him on the outside like he's just had a lovely Sunday lunch down the pub and he's out for a walk to try and burn it off. It's no trouble for him whatsoever. And you're going to see him do the same again here, I think. Yeah, he can run wide. He doesn't need to stress about this. And then he's up the inside, and I think he's going to hold it because he doesn't have to worry about his tyres like Marto does. There you go, up the inside, Marto could not defend it. And he's probably even going to get twitchy. No, he's not. Ooh, interesting. Didn't get twitchy there like he has done in previous. Oh, he did there, though, didn't he?
Just losing the rear ever so slightly, but nudges a little bit ahead of Jerome, and Jerome nudges back ahead of him. It's just a ding-dong battle between these two. And, oh, that's a car off.
John McKenzie, that was.
But guess what? It's going to be white flag when these two cross the line, and I have no idea who I think is going to win this race. Marto, I think, has that raw pace better, but Jerome has the better mind games, as you were saying. It's going to be the last lap when they cross the start-finish line. Jerome has to do everything he can, and look at the slipstream that Marto has. He's going to pull alongside. They're side-by-side as they cross the line for white flag, and Marto is about a tenth ahead into the corner, but doesn't brake as late as Jerome does. Going now through turn 2, Marto just nudges ahead, but it's now advantage to Marto, but Lamley has that slipstream, but Marto is going to cover the inside as Lamley did for the last 35 laps, and Marto has, I don't know what he's going to have to do, but Jerome didn't actually go for a move into turn 4, and I wonder if Lamley is hoping that he can get a run down the main straight and pass him that way, but we are going to find out as they come now into this next corner. Jerome looks up the inside, pushes Marto all the way to the outside. Marto's car looking very, very twitchy, and Jerome now has the advantage as he pushes Marto off, and that is a big mistake from Marto. He got very twitchy in the middle of that corner, and the gap is now 0.4 of a second, and this is now advantage Jerome once again, and they're going to come out round the penultimate corner, and the gap is too big, I think, for Marto to do anything about it. It's about half a second, 0.5 now. Jerome coming around the final corner gets a good exit. Marto can't quite do anything. It's going to be advantage Jerome. He has had an absolutely stonking race. He passed Marto on lap 1. An absolutely amazing drive from the British driver. He comes across the line and wins in Interlagos. An incredible battle for P1. Respect to these guys. An absolutely amazing race. Kept it clean and crossed the line 1 and 2. Pedro Soares just coming home in 3rd. Well deserved from him. Glamsetter in 4th. Maruk in 5th. Wow, Tim. And we're not even done.
No, still plenty of places still to be decided. There's another battle to the line ensuing here right now as Ridder's just seeing off Flint. He's at the latter stages, and wow, Ridgeway just beating Kessler to the line by just under a tenth. Hundredths of a second separating those two. Zamosa, he's got way just behind him, I believe, as we're looking at Paulo Brame right now in the middle of Van Veen and McIntyre. It's sorry between the pair of those, but I don't think anyone's going to get a good enough run. Brame definitely not going to be close enough to Van Veen. What can McIntyre do? I don't think he's going to be close enough. He's 2 seconds behind, so 2 tenths even behind, and they're going to remain as they are because Brame having the advantage of the slipstream of the car ahead of him. But this is a bit different. Carty around the outside trying to get past him. Hoff, can he do it as the line comes up in 0.06 of a second separating those two? It's getting closer and closer. I'm trying to spot the next battle that we've got, but no, I think we're pretty much done here. I think that's pretty much everyone across the line. What a final few laps here. What a final few laps. Well, I say final few laps. I think the last final few 35 laps, realistically. I've been wow. Some absolutely epic racing, and up and down the field as well.
Yeah, we didn't. It wasn't just the battle for the lead. It was the battle for third, the battle for 10th at one point, the battle for 6th, the battle for 12th, 15th, 18th. And of course, that battle from about 20th all the way to 30th. Just amazing battling up and down the grid.
Yeah, I think that battle for 20th, I think it started all the way back at 35th at one point. It's... Wow. But Interlagos, yet again, not failing to deliver whatsoever. And, wow, we're... Just waiting for the last few drives, I think, to come across the line, then we can bring you some classified results. There you go. Jerome Lamy taking the victory in the end by 3/10 of a second over Marto. Suarez picks up the last podium position. His teammate Glamsetter in the end comes home in 4th. A great drive from him. As I was saying earlier, I believe that is his highest ever finish in IGP. Maruk, well, sort of threw it away in the end. He could have finished 3rd. In the end, finishes 5th. Which isn't a bad result. Tony Jimenez finishes 6th with Alistair Hayes 7th. Bessie, a great recovery from him because he's fallen all the way back to 20th. Comes home in 8th in the end with Barris 9th, Varani running out the top 10. Then it's Newhoff, Rizzers, Flint, Luedo, well done from where he would have expected to finish. Ridgway up 13 places, one of the higher climbers. Not the highest category, but he's had a good race there with Kessler. Then in 16th, Telsma. 18th, Clark Williams had a bit of a turbulent race in the end, finished his way down from where he started in 18th. Resulted to motor up 16 places in the end. Heavyweight 20, running out of top 20. Then Putnik's up 10 in 21st. Politicus in 22nd. Ortolov's your biggest climber, up 25 places in the end. Not a bad day at the office for the Latvian. And 3rd in a train of 4 Latvians with Tomolkins rounding out in 24th. Soletto, Van Veen, Brame, McIntyre well down there in 28th with Podopenko and Milne running out your top 30. Then last driver still on the lead lap with Olszewski, Puzengruber, Imhoff, Carty and Dorian Arroyo. The first driver's lap down in 36 was Mauro. Mackenzie Brewer 38th. And then it was Wilkinson and Martin Devine. And that's into the retirements now. Reed Dennis, we lost him all the way back on lap 24. Aleko Alcaraz on 21st. Mark Alcaraz on lap 18. Gutting for those two because they're having amazing drives. And if they hadn't dropped out, just wonder what could have been for those two Iberians. Scazzini on lap 19. Kostisgeskrov, we lost him at lap 18. Vestman lap 14, likewise Lucas was lap 14 too. Rolandson lap 7, Ahmed lap 6. Mal retired the car on lap 4 with Atoa and Miroga not taking to the track. And just having a bit of a look, and doesn't look like we've got anyone in for a chat. Yeah, but well, what a race, Aaron. I mean, I would ask you to pick your favourite moment, but it's not impossible because I don't know about you, but I'd just say the whole race. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I think the most intense one was definitely the ending battle with Jerome and Marto. Without a doubt, they kept it cool, kept it clean, and didn't make contact at all out of those 35 laps. And yeah, wow, those guys, very, very fair racing. But we had amazing racing all up and down the grid. And as we head to Zolder next week, not sure we'll get the same sort of battling, but you never know. And yeah, as always, iGPFun providing some absolutely amazing racing.
Well, most certainly has indeed. As we're going to round things out here for the proceedings for the evening. As mentioned, coming up on the channel tomorrow night is late Apex, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for when we go live for all of our broadcasts. And we round up things for this weekend. This weekend is, well, it's been an absolute epic race. 2 crackers before it in the ARL trucks from Watkins Glen, and of course SRF Weekend Warriors from Indianapolis early on. So we round things out from the Americas across all 3 races from Interlagos in Brazil, or the Autodrome Jose Carlos Pace, to give this a longer name. I've been Tim Cox with Aaron Smith and Samuel Kumio, and we'll see you in a week's time when we're live from Zolder.